Sure. Thank you guys for coming. I'm Sarah Carlson. This conference is partially my fault too. Jared tried to take all the blame, but it's partially my fault too. Jared helped me get started flipping my classes last year in the middle of the year. Not last year, the year before that. Yeah, I'm getting the time now. So yeah, it was fall break 2 years ago where I decided, hey, I think I want to check out this flipping concept and see if it can work in my class. I asked my AP kids if they were interested in this. I talked them through the concept and they're like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So I asked my students if it would be all right if I performed this experiment on them, and they were game. So we just get started. We got started making the videos, and Jared helped me figure out how exactly to do that with the technology that's out there. And then a few months later, Jared asked me if I wanted to do a workshop for candies, and I said, sure, why not? One day workshop with people I know, and then it became this statewide conference that's also kind of my fault too, because I had administrators from another district coming to see my classroom to see what this was all about, and I kind of invited them to. It's like, well, let's make it a statewide conference now. So yeah, I know he tried to take all the blame, but it's kind of my fault too. But he and all the ed techs in our district have been really phenomenal organizing this and getting it going. So that's a little bit of my story. But yeah, I started flipping in the middle of the year, and I haven't gone back. So I don't do a traditional classroom anymore where I stand up and lecture. So this actually feels a little bit foreign to me, standing up and talking in front of you guys. Yeah.
So you videotape all your lectures, and the students watch them, and then you talk about it when you press or apply it.
Yeah. So I wanted to jump right in, but I didn't want to start creating a whole lot of new things. So I used what I was using in the classroom. I was using my PowerPoints, and I was just taking a screencast of me talking through my PowerPoint. So what was a 66-minute lecture was cut way down to maybe 10 or 15 minutes for AP, or maybe 5 to 10 minutes for my honors classes, because you don't have all the interruptions. You pare down your information to what's really the most important. I took out some of the practice questions, some of the questions that I would ask your students in the middle of the lecture. I took all those out because I wanted to save those for class time, and so my lecture got really short. And so that's what I was using. I was just using what I had before, a screencast of that. Yeah.
Are you still using that for your flipped classroom now, or have you revamped your videos?
I am in the process of revamping them, particularly my AP physics class, because AP has decided to redesign that course. So I'm redoing it all. But I'm still kind of using the same idea, using the PowerPoints to organize when I talk to my kids about the videos, and still making a screencast. It's simple, it's easy, and it doesn't take too much time to actually record a video that way. You just go through your slides and talk, and your computer captures all of that. So all of your emotions, your voice. If you want to include a picture of yourself in the corner somewhere, it will do that too. And I recommend that you have your face in your videos too, because there's that connection between you and your content and your kids that way. You're not just this disembodied voice in a video. Yeah.
So when you started, did you flip classes or just a few?
My AP, my honors A, my honors B, but I did not flip my regular physics. I figured 3 courses completely flipped was enough. I was spending, 4 hours a night, planning and making these videos for 3 different classes, 3 completely different classes. So it does take some time. It's the planning portion that really takes up the time. The recording is just 10 minutes, and it's nothing at all. Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
I missed a bunch of stuff. What program do you use to do your recording?
I used Screencast-O-Matic. That's what I first started with.
Okay.
And it's free.
Can you
go to
record?
the website, screencast-o-matic.com, and they have a little button on their website. You just click that button, and it starts to record whatever you have on your computer screen. It gives you a little time, set up your screen and all that before you actually record, but it's free totally, and you can save the video on your computer, which is different from a lot of some other programs out there where you have to save your video to their website. I'm an only child. I want my videos, they're mine, so I wanted to keep them on my computer. Yeah.
Can you write on the screen?
Yeah.
Or you have to use your mouse? Or how do you?
If you have a tablet connected to your computer so that you can write, you can do that, or you can have a webcam centered on a piece of paper and some pen and a pen.
Okay.
You can do that too. Yeah, whatever is on your computer screen can be captured. So you can set up a webcam and you can write.
What kind of tablet do you use? Do you use a tablet or do you
Wacom
use-
Bamboo.
Say it again.
Wacom Bamboo.
Okay.
Yeah, Wacom Bamboo tablets are awesome. There are some artists who prefer the Wacom Bamboo tablet because they can get really detailed in their sketches on their computers, and so I thought that was a really cool tool to use. Some other teachers use it too. There are cheaper versions, there are more expensive versions. It depends on your needs. If you really need to be more detailed, if you're an art teacher and you want that detail, you'll want the more expensive tablet. But if you just want to just jot a few notes on top of your PowerPoint, then I would just get the simple tablet. Yeah. For my physics classes, I have to be able to solve problems for them, and so the tablet came in handy for that.
Yeah, see, I teach chemistry and
I can't do it on an iPad. I can't
see, and that's what I've been
problems.
doing is with my iPad and
I need more space, and tablet gives me that. So, particularly for my AP class where the solutions can get pages long. So, yeah, I needed something that was a little bit better than just an iPad.
Did your school pay for it?
I applied for a grant
Okay.
for it because I also needed some iPads for my class because I wanted to make sure kids had access to all the videos.
Right.
So applied for a $10,000 grant to get some iPads, to get this tablet, and also to get Camtasia, which is a really nice screencasting program, video editing program. Really
Is it?
nice. Yeah.
Cam?
Camtasia, yeah. And see, I did it at the wrong time. I did it when it was $300, and I think now you can get it a whole lot cheaper, especially for a teacher. So I have a PC, so and I believe that Camtasia's PC version is much more developed than the Mac version, but maybe they've come along.
Last year, that's the case.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
ScreenFlow on the Macs.
ScreenFlow.
ScreenFlow.
Okay. So for a Mac, ScreenFlow.
So would you do these videos in place of them reading or encourage them to read also? Did you guys send textbooks or anything?
We do have textbooks, so I wanted to give my kids options. So sometimes I thought about myself and the way that I learned. Sometimes I really just wanted to read. Sometimes I wanted to listen to the teacher. So I said, I don't care where you get the information, where you get the content. You can read it, you can watch a video, you can go onto a website, find your own information. I don't care. So with the video, I would pair up the readings of the textbook, but I said you can find the information wherever you want. It didn't really matter to me, as long as they...
Physics is physics.
Right. Physics is physics. It doesn't change that much until we get into quantum mechanics, then that's a whole other...
So now this is with your AP and honors students, so they were probably pretty motivated.
Yeah.
You haven't tried it with your regular physics class?
I don't teach regular physics
Okay.
anymore. But that was another reason why I decided my first year of flipping not to flip my regular physics, because I knew the next year I wasn't going to be teaching that class. So, yeah, but we do have some teachers who are working on flipping their regular physics class in my building. So, and they haven't done it quite yet, but I hope they do it soon because I want to know how it goes. Any other questions? Some logistical questions? Nothing?
Do you use Canvas? Do you use Canvas?
Oh, yes. I love Canvas. Yeah, and I'll talk a little bit about how I use Canvas here, but essentially it's where I put the videos. Actually, I will upload them to YouTube first and then embed them into Canvas. It seems to be the smoothest way to do it. Because if you try to upload a video into Canvas, it's a little funky. I just think it looks a lot smoother just to upload it to YouTube, and then Canvas will embed it into your Canvas pages. It's also where they can interact with the content. So after they watch a lesson or read from the textbook or go to a website or whatever, my kids have a concept check that they need to do. It's a double check for me, so I know where they are when they're coming in the morning, and then it's also accountability for students who may not be quite so motivated. Yeah, it's a few questions connected to what the concept was about, multiple choice, short answer, whatever. It's just a few questions. Maybe it takes 5 minutes for them to complete.
It's not great, just quick little formats. Those aren't great. Just
Oh no,
quick little
I just
formats.
want to see that they do it, and then I don't care if they get all the answers wrong, but as long as they put in some effort, and then actually I like the wrong answers because then I have something to talk about that day. I can address a common error to the entire class, or I can pick individual students or small groups and we can talk about those wrong answers and maybe smooth over some misconceptions. So it's a really helpful tool, and Canvas is really great because you don't have to grade everything necessarily. Especially if it's multiple choice, it'll grade it for you, and then you can pull up your data and see which questions were most missed. Or if it's short answer, I can get a snapshot of all of their answers all on one page, and I can see where they are. I don't grade it, I just see that they do it.
They do that when they're in class, though? They do the concept check in class or?
At home. Right after they do the lesson, yeah.
This is kind of just silly, but you don't grade it, but do you just give them credit for doing it? Or, like, 'cause grades are something I hate, by the way. I just hate grades. I'm like,
I do standards-based grading.
okay.
So all I do for that portion is I just track whether they do it on time, and that's it.
Like, in Skyward, do you put anything like, yes, they did it, or no, they didn't?
No, because I do standards-based grading now.
Okay.
What's standards-based grading?
So instead of like the point-based system, you assess their mastery on certain skills and concepts. So, and with the concept check, it's the very first thing, the very first assessment they have. So I don't really want to assess their mastery on something that just learned.
Right, I'm just saying,
So-
like, do you just give it, like, so if they don't do it, what's
We
the-
have a chat, the student and I, and we have a little conference talk, and I explain these are the expectations, this is why you need to come to class prepared, that kind of thing. Yeah. And if it's a continual problem, then I have something to show the parents.
like, this is why they're not passing their.
Yeah. And then we can talk about, is there a technology issue that the student has been unwilling to share with me? Do they not have reliable internet access at home? And I can have that talk with the parent, and we can come up with another solution. So, yeah.
So what are the solutions you come up with when they don't have access at home?
DVDs. Most everybody's got a TV, right? They can watch a video on a DVD, so I can burn all the lessons onto a DVD and they can watch it at home. Or I had one student bring me a flash drive, and I just load them onto the flash drive. And then, because I've got the iPads now, they can come in after school, before school, and watch a lesson. There's lots of options out there.
So what would you recommend for someone like me who I want to be able to write on the screen, I want to be able to do all of that, but I don't have a tablet and I probably won't be getting one anytime soon.
How about a webcam? It's really the
Yeah,
simplest.
I have like a document camera and I've done that
Okay.
before.
Do you have an iPad? Yeah.
Yeah, on my iPad I've been using Edu Creations, but it's
There's an app or a program you can now get for your computer that acts like an Apple TV. So you could, I'll figure it out and send it to somebody because my Salt Lake District's gonna start using it. I'm gonna buy it. It's like $12.
Okay.
And you buy it for your computer, and now all of a sudden your iPad can connect to your computer, and then you can use the screencast and record using the screencast.
Yeah, find out what that is. Because right now I've just been using
Well-
Visual Creation, which is fine. It does what I need it to do.
Yeah, if you need more space.
But it takes forever.
Yeah,
And
it
if you
does.
screw up, you have to start over. It's the worst.
Yeah.
Or look
Actually, I really like the
Splash
scripts
Top.
in the videos. You've seen it.
Yeah.
It's more
Explain Everything is another screen casting app on the iPad, and that allows you to go back and re-record where you messed up. So you don't
Yeah,
have to
that's what
start
he
all
was
over the
saying.
place.
Explain Everything in something called Nomia, but apparently you have to pay a lot for Nomia. Or
Explain
pay
Everything's
for Nomia, not even a lot.
$3.
What?
Explain Everything's $3.
$3 is good. I've got
It's a-
$3.
And it's pretty powerful too for being a $3 app.
I probably, can you show your face on it? Does it have an option to put your face up in the printer? I don't, the kids
Don't
don't need to
think
see
so.
mine. Yeah,
I
that's
don't think
fine
so.
with me. I just
Yeah, you can pull in video, I think. Just flip the camera.
If you wanna,
I haven't tried it actually. We need to try
Okay,
that.
I'll, yeah.
I can.
Do you use it right now? You already
Oh, I love
use it? Yeah? Okay. Explain Everything. Got it.
www.airserver.com. Explain Everything. That's where you can get that download for your computer to
Did you hear that?
connect to your Apple, your
Air
iPad.
server?
Airserver.com. /download will take you straight to the download page, but.
The one thing about that though is the students can come on their phones.
Right. Well, you just have a password and now. But the other great thing about that is if you're using videos in class
This is mine.
and you set up a temporary password and you have like the Maxwell has a card.
Yeah.
So we do,
Yeah.
so
Just
they have
flip
iPods
the
and all of a
camera.
sudden you say, okay, yeah, you're gonna connect.
I haven't tried that. I've used
Or
Explain
show
Everything
me.
all the time, but I haven't. Because I can't put my face in Explain Everything video. That's awesome. Okay. Anything else? Okay, and don't feel shy about asking me questions, even if it's relevant or not to what I'm talking about. I really like organic conversation, so we can actually discuss classroom activities, or we can discuss logistics, or we can talk about the news, or I don't care. I just want to just talk with you guys because, again, presenting and lecturing in front of people still is kind of foreign to me now. So I'd rather just have a conversation. So I want to learn your names and what you do and something awesome about you. You know, why are you considering flipping, or if you flipped, what's a success story, or what's a struggle that you have? So we'll start here.
Who's picking for?
Okay.
No, it's fine. No,
I can
it's
start
fine.
first.
No, it's fine. Clint Stevens. I was a science teacher for 12 years. 10 in Escalante, 1 at Salt Lake Arts Academy. I work for regional service centers, so I'm kind of like Jared Kobili for Southwest Utah. So I work with teachers in Millard, Beaver, Iron, Washington, Garfield, and Cape counties. And I'm just trying to learn more of this so I can help them bring it into their classrooms.
Louise Atkinson, and I teach math here at Jordan. And I'm wanting to flip my AP Stats class just because there's never enough time to do the exploration and get them to really understand it, plus teach it.
The AP classes are, the hardest, yeah.
I'm Amy Jones. I teach 7th grade math. I've been doing that for, I will start my second year here. I want a flipped classroom because I despise the lecture format. I'd much rather sit in class and ask the questions and get the kids working with it. So.
My name's Jeff Durbridge. I teach math at Harriman High School, and I actually tried this last year without any help,
Yeah.
which was a great learning experience.
Yeah, we'll call it
But
that.
I do secondary math 3 and then the concurrent enrollment classes. I'm only flipping my secondary math 3s at this point. And I learned quickly that I at first asked them to come prepared with what they had learned on the videos and write down 3 questions that they have and one thing that they understood. And that was a great concept, but I started noticing generic things on there.
Yeah.
So I switched it and I put in some keywords here and there to throw them off. And then I said, you know what, this still isn't good enough, so I started creating notes for them to take. So they would just write down this one thing, and that worked a lot better. But I'm here to find out ideas of not just, I can do videos, but I want to find different ideas to incorporate into my classroom, things that will deepen their understanding.
I'm Elaine Street, and I teach at Richfield High School in the middle of the state. I teach theater and English, 10th grade, and 9th grade, I guess, right now. I've taught all of the grades. But I love how theater, because it is kind of like flipping your classroom, because you give them the script, they go home, they learn and work it that way. But then you come back and you're active. And I've always had such a good rapport with those kids. And in English, I'm okay trying, but I've tried to do a lot of theater things in the English classroom. Have them come back and do scenes or do whatever it is to show the concepts and different things. So that works. Usually what I've had problems with when you do the video is the technology and having them work and having the kids. So if anyone has anything that they're doing that would help facilitate that, that would be great. I've thought about with the kids, I don't know whether, I was talking to someone the other day about we need to become gaming programmers. Because honestly, that is probably how in the future.
Code.org.
What is it?
Code.org. We'll teach you simple We'll teach you simple.
Okay. And if
pattern,
this is for the
patterns.
kids to do this, to teach, if they have the concepts. So that might be kind of fun for the tests, or rather, it would be informal. That type of thing, or it's a
Here's your test. Make a game.
Yeah, make a game.
That's actually my master's thesis.
Oh, well, I'm coming to talk to you.
I haven't been working on it for a while.
I think that is where we're headed, to be able to get into the brains. So, code.org.
That does some simple stuff.
Okay.
And then there's Game Maker.
What was fun, I wrote a play and we did it last year, and we put it all on, so we were taking it outside and everything. And I directed the Mormon Miracle pageant there for a while. We made fun of it after a while. We have a whole forbidden pageant, and it's kind of funny. But it's all pre-recorded, and you have to do that because the people are using Del Sart movements, and and they have to be able to be seen from 2 blocks away. But we did hours using Audacity and work with kids that way. And I had some kids that were so wonderful to help me with the mics. So now I have mics and everything. But that was kind of cool to have get the kids involved that way. So I'm hoping that flipping the classroom, I can have more fun in my English classes.
I'm also Elaine Colbert. First
cool.
names. This is just starting my 8th year teaching, but I am just starting my 2nd year working at the Alpine School District. So I have the opportunity to work with teachers, new teachers, and I love this idea and want to learn more about flipping a classroom. I didn't flip my classroom before. I'm now at the district and we get to do professional development, but there are certain times that I can do it, even with administrators and things like that, which I have done where they had to do so before they came to professional development. But I love the idea of being able to have more in classroom, time in the classroom, actually working with students on the concepts that they've already they've gotten a little bit of information about, and
building their curiosity, their motivation for learning and things in that way. And I think Flip in the Classroom can do that for classrooms. So I think it's great. So.
I'm Renee Mendenhall, and I'm actually a dental hygienist, and I teach dental hygiene at Salt Lake Community College. And so I wasn't formally trained as a teacher, but as a hygienist, we educate people every day. So kind of, sort of, my dad was a teacher. He told me never go into teaching, and here I am. But for me, when I took a seminar or an online course a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, flip classrooms, like that's what I did in school. This is nothing new, but the application is different now. It's like you expect your students to be prepared for class, and then it's I like the way you put it, that you want to go deeper into the subject matter. And so for my students, I only have 16 students in my class. They're going through a program, so they have like 7 classes at one time. So to get them to be motivated to actually prepare for your class, that is my issue. It's to make sure that they've read it. And the way that I actually assign them homework prior to class, so that they have to read it, at least read some of it, and then do the homework. And I like content, what did you call it? Concept check.
It's a great form.
That's such a great term instead of homework. It's like, okay, here's your concept check. So that's what I'm trying to, and then we do a lot of active learning in class, because we apply a lot of the things that we learn. I mean, everything that they learn, they can directly apply. So I think it makes it a little easier when I teach, but it's just coming up with activities and different types of active learning. We play games and things too, and my director's like, you're playing games? You know, it's like, you need to take this class and see what, the teaching methodology, how it's changed. So.
And Chan, this will be my 5th grade in Kenyan School District, and I teach Chinese. And I would like to know, this is the first year I heard about like flipped classroom, so I would like to know more about it and to see like how I can adapt that strategies in my classroom.
Great, I'm Sarah Leo. I've been teaching for 3 years now, and we were lucky enough my school to get Chromebooks for students, so I kind of want some ideas on what to use them for. Helping in the classroom.
There's nothing worse than, here's a piece of technology. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Jared Ferguson. I'm with Provo School District. I'm a secondary programs and science director. So I'm just here to see if there's concepts that we can help our teachers to utilize to better reach our students.
I'm Marnie Coleman. I teach chemistry at Alta High School. I teach mostly general and honors, and then I have one section of AP, because that's all we have is one section of AP. And I've been there for, this will be my 7th year at Alta. Yeah. And I'm the kind of person that just decides I'm going to do something, and then I just do it, and then I figure it out as I go. And so last year, I realized I have a website, and I was putting videos up that were sort of supplementary for my students, because I was hoping that the kids that maybe weren't getting it in class would go home and watch the video and then go, oh, I'm getting it. But I realized I was doing twice as much work as I'm lecturing in class, and then I'm making the video lecture, and then I was like, why don't I just flip my class? So I did 2nd semester without having really any idea what I was doing. So I was videoing little tutorials, and that was their homework, and then they would come to class and do homework in class, and they could help each other, and I could walk around, and and then we could do a little activity. And I started to see this really interesting thing happen, where the kids that were doing the flip, who were actually going home and doing the homework, were suddenly getting A's and B's, like high B's and A's on their tests and their quizzes. And then the kids that weren't doing that were failing miserably. And I had no C's. No one was getting C's. It was the weirdest thing. And I was like, I don't know if that means it works or it doesn't, because I'm losing the kids that could just kind of figure it out, weren't able to do that anymore, because they weren't watching the lectures, they weren't getting any of the content. And suddenly those kids were like drowning, and I felt bad for them, but at the same time I was like, but then these kids that were C kids were suddenly getting B's and A's. So I'm like, interesting, but I think I can make it better. And so and plus I was just kind of winging it. I had no idea. I mean, I was just completely, no one else is doing it in my department for sure. And in our school, I wasn't aware of anyone else. I just kind of, I didn't even know where the concept, I thought I came up with it on my own, you know, well, I'm already I'm a genius, you know, and then someone starts talking about, you're flipping your classroom, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And, yeah. And then one of our administrators over the summer is like, are you going to that Flip in Utah conference? I'm like, the what? And she's like, you flipped your classroom last year, right? I said, yeah. She's like, so you're going to that conference? And I was like, yes. I'm going to that conference. Unfortunately, I can't be here tomorrow because I have a big meeting all day. But yeah, so I just want to do it better. I just want to know what I can do better, because what I'm doing, I don't think is as good as it could be.
Yeah, I think the piece that you're missing is that incentive for the kids to come prepared.
Yeah, so like what is that incentive? I don't know.
You've gotta, I hate to say this, but you gotta make them worth points or something. Like you gotta make watching the video.
That's why I was asking if you do that, or do you make it
concept checks. That's gotta be.
Yeah. I also think if I start the year out where my classroom is flipped and I don't just do it halfway through the year, that there's going to be more buy-in. And that's what I'm hoping will happen, is that this is just how it's done in my class. I think the kids maybe didn't take it very seriously because they thought, if we don't do it, she'll just go back to the way it was before. And I was like, no, it's not going to happen. And then, like, you know, a lot of my students would say to the kids that weren't doing it, like, you know, why aren't you, it's so much easier because you don't have to do homework on your own, you know, you're just going home and watching videos and taking notes, it's so much easier. But they just weren't happy. I think I overheard someone say, you've always got those kids that just, they have school all figured out. There's a game and they know how to play it. And when you flip your classroom, you're not playing, it's not the same game, and they don't want to play that game, and they don't like that game, and they suddenly are realizing that, yeah, they're responsible now. They can't just like get by anymore. And that was an interesting thing. I mean, I got to a point, sorry that I'm taking all this time, where I could literally sort the tests. Or their quizzes into piles. These are the kids that I know are watching videos and doing the things that I've asked them to do, and these are the kids that aren't. And I could sort them into piles, and sure enough, A's and B's, D's and F's, every time.
Well, maybe you explain that to
yeah,
your kids this year.
I did, yeah, and I tried to show that to them last year. I was like,
don't end up in the pile of shame.
yeah, that is the pile of shame. I love it. That's awesome.
Then when you're starting it out, maybe because that's just it.
But what I'm hearing, like from you and from you, Marty, which I'm loving, is that making kids responsible for their own learning. I think that's so valuable. So.
Did you have a comment?
Well, I was just going to say with that, making kids responsible. When I first taught AP Stats 10 years ago, because I taught it and then took a break and then taught it again, I told the kids they had to go home and they had to read and they had to take some notes. And I got over and over, why are you making my kids teach themselves? You know, and that's because they couldn't go home and read. And so then, I don't know, it was just really frustrating because I got it over and over, and they would drop the class because they were having to teach themselves. And that was really frustrating.
Sorry, one last thing. Something I really noticed is that the first parent-teacher conference we had after I started flipping, my honors and my AP parents, and that's the other thing, is I want to do it for every single one of my classes. So as you can imagine, my life was living hell last year because I was so busy. But those parents loved it. My general kids, they were kind of straddling the line. But my honors and my AP parents thought it was like the most amazing thing. And they were giving me all this credit, and I'm like, I know what I'm saying. So then I found out that this is not new. This is not new. So the general kids, it is a little bit like, you know, the parents do have this weird concept that somehow you're not teaching them anymore. And I'm like, I'm actually doing a lot of work. Yeah.
It seems like people don't want to they want to do work in the school, at school, they don't want to have to do anything at home. Because they have soccer and ballet and, you know, they have all their activities outside of school. And so it's a balance. It's learning how to balance it too, I think.
And how I approached it with my AP kids this past year was the year before then, the students were doing hours of homework on their own instead of 15 minutes a night.
Yeah. That's what why I even was. I'm like, would you rather me just give you a worksheet and you're looking at it like I have no idea what this is? Or would you rather be able to do that in class and get help and then you just watch a video? A video! I'm asking for 15 minutes of your time. Yeah.
And if you guys can train students to do that before they get to college, that would be great.
Okay, I'm Christine Jacobson. I work at Clearfield Job Corps Center, so I'm not with any school district. We have our own issues. Technology, data centers in Texas, that type of stuff. We are currently doing a flipped pilot program that they structured the heck out of. So, and they didn't set it up right. I looked at this and thought, they didn't go to a flip conference when they came up with this, because I'd already been to one last year. No, they didn't go to a flip conference. So we're having some issues with that. Biggest issue we have with our students is, that's my time. Why do I have to do this? That's my time. That's my time.
So did they not have homework before?
What?
Did they not have homework before that they had to do during that time?
Not really. And our students...
I've been to Clearfield.
Yeah, so our students' homework, you know, getting some of them to even do it in class sometimes. But then a lot of stuff, I like the hands-on. I mean, I was really excited about it, but they just didn't set the program up right. But I like the hands-on. I like the...
I wonder if in your program at Clearfield that if there could be a time set in, like a flex time or whatever, where they have that time to watch their videos prior to going to class.
They are trying to work something like that in, but right now it's more a punitive thing if they don't watch it, and it's not every student. And so that's where the issue is, because it's not every student that has to do it. It's only so many students. And they don't think it's fair that, you know, we're trying to switch it so that everybody has homework, but we have a unique population, let's just put it that way.
Maybe I need to take a field trip.
You should.
You should.
Everybody should go to Clearfield because it's
You
kind
want
of
to see what it's like.
kids who have no other options kind of
Yeah,
go.
you want to see. I've been there 5 years. I love it. But it would be interesting to see, you know, just see what our students are like, and no, they're not scary, no, they're not all criminals, and no, they're
They
not,
can't have a record.
yeah. You know, it's not that they're criminals, and it's not a reform school, but a lot of them are dropouts. Okay. Couldn't succeed. A lot of them have been homeschooled but wasn't successful. And then, even if they have a diploma, I teach what's called TABE math. Even if they have a diploma, if they can't prove competency in math, they have to or reading, they have to take these 2 classes. So I'm anxious for my part of the pilot should be ending soon, and then I can do what I want with the flip with it. But it's an actual research project, so it's like then I can flip it how I want.
You can give them a badge.
I can. Oh, I am, and then I'm going to say, now this is how you should have set it up. And
It seems so bizarre. Who set this up?
somebody with our corporation is MTC, and it's MTC Institute set it up. But one of the problems is it's for a math class, and no matter what they did on the math test that they came in and took, the second day they came in. They had no idea what they were doing. If it was the end of the day, they were tired, they just blew it off. So I have students that can do the math and students that can't, and they're all in a beginning math cycle.
But that assessment doesn't really show them.
Yeah, and that assessment doesn't show, it's not at the right time. So we're working on getting that part fixed and showing a few other issues like,
So teachers didn't design this.
No. Well, a teacher did design it, but I didn't get to design it myself, no.
That's the whole point. Really?
However, we are going standards-based, and for my geography class, I do math in the morning, geography in the afternoon. I am working on making it so I can get more of that flipped, so that, you know, they have to just pass the standard, the Utah education standards. Pass the standard off, you pass the class, you get through all the standards, you're out of the class. If it takes you 2 weeks, fine. If it takes you 6 months, fine.
I love that. I wish I could do that.
So
So there's some kids who are done. They've got it. They're ready to move on
Yeah.
to a different class.
And where we're a credit recovery school,
Yeah.
we need to get them into their trades because that our primary mission is to give them job skills, not always academics. So get them out of there into their trade as soon as we can.
I'm Gloria Shirley, and I work for the Salt Lake City School District. I'm an ed tech specialist, and my background's 5th and 6th grade, and also math coaching. And I really believe that flipping a classroom is the direction that education is going. Also gaming. I think that's where we're going in education if we want to keep students engaged and be relevant in their lives. And so that's why I'm here, and I'm curious to learn about what kind of structure we give students or you've given students as they're watching video. You talked about a concept check. I'm interested in maybe an elementary, if you have something that elementary students could use also, maybe some sort of graphic organizer. Yeah. So, and I really want to teach teachers how to do this. I think it's really where we're going, so that's why I'm here.
I'm Kimberly Miller. I work for Tooele School District in same kind of position, tech trainer for teachers. This is my second year starting. I've been with the district 14 years. I've taught junior high for 6. I taught high school for 1. I taught adult ed for 2.5 years, and then I've actually been in the IT department for 8. So I'm also a field tech for schools, so I do computer work, phones, everything.
Just
so
amazing.
I'm overwhelmed. But I like to bring technology into classrooms. I like to give them, the teacher, kind of a breath of fresh air. I like to bring in this kind of concept. I think we are going this way educationally. Our superintendent is really pushing this direction. We purchased Canvas. We've got site licenses for Edmodo, so kind of trying to bring that kind of idea. We have a lot of technology in our district no one's using. Promethean boards, document cameras, everything. I felt like we got this money, we put all this money into it, and then everyone kind of just went back to lecture.
Still goes down.
Yeah, and I feel like it's that overwhelm of the time you've got to put in, but then they get to a point where they just really don't know what they're doing. So these teachers are they're confused, and then they stop and they quit. And it's funny to me because they're the teacher and they complain about kids that stop and quit, but they do the same thing. So I find myself in that position of trying to teach a teacher, which is sometimes a monumental job. So anyway, it's really fun. I've had a blast. There's so much I feel like I can bring. It's just getting into that classroom and having them give me the time. At this current time, they don't give me professional development time with the teachers. They don't get paid to come to me, which is their motivation. So I have a hard time getting in the buildings. We have about 28 schools, I think 26 to 28, go all the way to Wendover, Vernon, Iberpaw, and then we have Tooele, Stafford, and Brownsville area. So really large area, very rural. Anyway, I'm just excited to see how you guys teach us, how you present it, how you explain it. That's kind of what I'm coming in as, because I know that I'm going to have to go back and try to convince people that this is worth their time, you know, and we even purchased Adobe, the whole Adobe suite. We've got CC version, and I've got like 6 people using it in the high schools. And this is district-wide. I can go into an elementary with it, and they just really don't know what they can do. You know, I feel like I've got the stuff. I've got stuff they can do on any level.
Stop buying technology.
Yeah, and the super is at that point. He said, until people can prove what they are doing with their technology, we won't be purchasing anymore. So.
Start buying, registration to conferences.
Yeah.
Something.
Professional development. Well, and I think that they get so, and we switched superintendents. He started last year, and so this is his second year. So I think we'll see a lot of movement after he works out some of those issues, people-wise. But anyway, so.
The financial part of it is such a huge issue, because they want people to be trained, but they don't want to pay them to get trained.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here's the tech, like you said, here's the technology, like we just, introduced 2 new programs last year that our instructors had to learn and the students had to learn, and we had virtually no training on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's with everything.
Good luck.
You just go back to
It
the
is.
old way. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's too frustrating.
Yeah.
It is hard. Well, and I constantly, oh, it's just so easy for you. It is not. I don't know what I'm doing. I have to Google things and figure it out and play with it. But they just have that mentality. It's just so easy for you. I can't. So
When
I have to get
teachers-
that. I can't.
When teachers tell me that, I say, well, what would you tell your students?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
I
You
try to
can't.
guilt trip. Yeah. I usually get about an hour with them. So I have to pack as much as I can in an hour, but I also try to kind of do a scope down so that it's not so overwhelming that they walk out going, I have no idea what you just did.
We also have
Yeah.
a teacher that is tech illiterate. I mean, using the computer is
Yeah.
an issue.
Yeah. I actually, for me personally, I would like to do flipped PD. That's kind of where I'm gonna go. And I'm gonna make them use it, make them learn it, and then hopefully I can kind of get that barrier down. We'll see.
Learn something new.
I'm Ronald Fisher. My role in education is I'm a 3rd grade teacher up in Box Elder County, another rural way out there. But I've been 6 years in this school, Century Elementary, and 6 years at the charter school up in Logan. And between the two, I think I've got it down, but every once in a while it just comes back and haunts you. I have my master's degree, and it was during my master's degree 5-6 years ago that I first saw Sam Bergen's or John's and Sam's initial video that they produced through, I think it was Tech Smith. And I was sold right then and there. And it took me a few years to actually figure out what I was doing. And then last year, with the initial flipped classroom, I started it. I presented last year, and I said, I'm learning just like you, and we're going to go with it. And it was amazing to see the 3rd graders actually buy into it. I only had 2 students that did not have internet, and those 2 students, their moms had their iPhones, and they could have watched it on their iPhones because they had Facebook accounts. So I did have the second option of doing the DVDs, and that kind of fell by the wayside as the year went on because the kids were accessing it anyway. I learned a lot from my mistakes. I used Smartboard initially and primarily throughout the year to do my lessons, just the screen capture. And then I took that screen capture and put it into an editing program and just edited out all my ands, ums, and whatchamacallits. And the buy-in with his parents was awesome. And the kids were able to benefit. I was able to structure it so that they only had to do 2 lessons a week. One on Monday that they could watch Monday and Tuesday, come back by Wednesday. We do a collaborative project on Wednesday and Friday. So they'd watch the movie on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Worked out really well. Mistakes, trying to figure out how to keep them responsible. How to keep them motivated. You had to make sure the videos actually got them bought in every time. So I bring in artwork, I bring in their artwork, things that were going on besides just, since I concentrated on the math curriculum, I went with the book. I went with the content that was in the book, and to me it was dry, and I had to bring it up a notch. So I learned there's a lot more work than just the 2 hours of presenting it. I mean, planning and presenting it. And so, anyway, that's kind of my experience, and I'm really, really ready for the mastery learning, which is a step up. And because I had my gifted students that didn't need the videos, and then I had the students that could have used more than the videos and still not been able to light a fire under them, and they still wouldn't have got it. But it's true, we do have to dance faster than a dance revolution. We've got to be able to present it so that they can buy into it. But with Mastery Learning, I wish I could let my students, my gifted students, get the concept and move on. Because I was worried them. And to put it in perspective, I was done with math curriculum a month and a half before the other teachers in my team. Because we were moving so fast. And that was even with interventions with the lower kids. So.
The hardest part is those non-motivated kids. But that's any way you teach. So that's kind of what I want to add to what I talk about is how do we light their fires and get them excited about what they're doing. So let me just go through what I have for you. First, I want to talk about assessing your students and figuring out what they've got from your flipped lesson, whether it was a video or you send them to a website or you have them play a game online, so, whatever it is, how you figure out what they learned and where the holes are in their understanding, and then some class activities, because this is why you're doing this, right? It's not because you really, really like to see yourself on a computer screen lecturing to yourself. Yeah, that's kind of what it's like. You're making a video and you're lecturing to yourself. You have to picture your kids there, otherwise your voice is kind of dead. But it's not because you like to make videos, it's because you like to hang with your kids, right? And you like to help them learn, to give them more one-on-one attention. That's why you're doing this. So I have some ideas for some activities, but I really want to just kind of open up discussion and have you guys share ideas with each other. So, some different ways that I've tried. I've used the starter quiz at the beginning of the class. It was just pen and paper. Something really, really quick for me to grade, or they could pass it to their neighbor and they could grade, and then I could look over it really quick and see which students needed some attention that day. I've also used clickers and used Canvas, and I've also used some other digital tools, other digital clickers to kind of assess where everybody is. And then I've also just done Q&A sessions. Like, what are your questions about the lesson from last night? I've done that, and that's worked really well. Particularly if I know that the content the night before was pretty difficult. And then, just student pairs where they work on something together. So your starter quiz, some tips, keep it just a few questions. You want it to be something that can be really easily graded because you don't want to spend half your class period looking at those quizzes to figure out where people are. You want to spend maybe 5 minutes looking at those answers and pick out the students that you want to talk to individually, or maybe you need to talk to the entire class because maybe there was something that everybody got wrong. It needs to be something really, really quick. Yeah.
I was going to say, if you like multiple choice for starter quizzes, you guys ever heard of GradeCam?
Yeah.
Yeah, I use GradeCam for my starter quizzes because the kids can just grade it puts it all in, and then I can just quickly pull up okay, everybody, half of you missed question 3, so we clearly need to talk about that. So GradeCam is a great tool.
I know a lot of districts have it, but it can be pricey.
Yeah.
Now you just need the license because you can use any camera now. It used to be you had to have the...
Oh, right.
Now you can just use your
take the
iPad
license.
She mentioned Clickers. Clickers is an app that you can run on the iPad. The kids have this weird
That's cool.
code. They just hold it up the right way for their answer.
And that's free.
How does clickers work? Do they need to have like a device?
No.
They have to have
A piece of paper.
it's a
You
piece
have
of
to make
paper.
you have to run off on cardstock or something that
Yeah, that's what grade cam's like that. You just print out their like tampons.
And so the way they hold it, the camera sees it and
Yep.
picks up there.
And then you just scan with your device.
That's kind of a fun way to get them engaged is to use the plickers. It's like clickers, but
And what's it called?
plickers.
P-L-I-C-K.
So it's
Yeah.
like grade cam, but it's free basically.
It's more like just having clickers and getting instant feedback.
Yeah, just a snapshot of
Mastery
everybody
Connect
on
is
the
it'll grade them. Mastery Connect is what you do. It will grade, it'll do this like they're talking
And it
about.
gives data.
And it gives data and it will track. So if you set it up to show, okay, this question's this concept, it will track the student's progress.
Grade Chem is actually part of it. Mastery Connect is bigger than Grade Chem, but Grade Chem is part of it.
You said it's called clicker?
Clickers.
With a P.
Oh,
P-L-I-C-K.
that would be, I think.
Yeah, careful what you do. One of our instructors, she'll ask a question. She'll have the students hold up fingers right here so the students can't see each other. That's how she'll, just like really simple to figure out if they're getting a concept. She'll ask a question and say, okay, is it 1, 2, answer 1, 2, or 3? And they'll just go like this or 2. So
Yeah.
it's kind of simple, but it doesn't track anything, but it just gives you a quick overview.
Yeah, if a quiz or something like that is not part of your accountability aspect of your flip lessons, that's a really great way. And there's no paper, which
It's free.
I love, and it's free. And then I've also used clickers. I've liked Socrative in the past, however, I think maybe there's a bug on my iPad, but I'm having some technical issues with Socrative now, but it might just be my iPad. But I have now been exclusively using Canvas quizzes to assess what they know. And that's what I call the concept check. But it's set up on Canvas as a quiz. So instead of an assignment, it's a quiz. But I don't call it that with my kids. I'm like, this is just a concept check. This is just so I know where you are. And this is not punitive. Okay? Just answer honestly and give thoughtful answers so I know where you are. And then that's their accountability piece. And if they don't complete it, then we have a discussion. If they don't complete a lot of them, then we have an even longer discussion. And then maybe I talk with their parents to figure out if there's something else going on. If it's an access thing, if they don't have reliable access, then we come up with a different plan. Maybe they come in the morning, I don't know. Okay. It's individual, it depends on the student, right? But sometimes if it's really because they are lazy, and don't want to do it before they come to class, well, then they have to watch the video and do the concept check before they can join the rest of the class in whatever activity that we're doing that day.
Question. I like that idea, but do you have students on a regular basis that's where they are? So they're.
No, it's usually just 1 or 2.
And it varies from day to day who it is.
Yeah, it's not the same kid every day. So that gives me some hope, at least.
Canvas, I know Canvas lets you take it multiple times. Do you set it up to do that, or do you just, it's one time and
Just,
that's
it's
it?
one time because I'm not grading it harshly. I just want to see where they are. Sometimes they will mess up and they will submit it before they're actually done. Then I'll open it back up for that kid. But I just told them, it's like this, don't stress about this. It says you only get one chance to answer this quiz, but it's not a quiz, right? So I've also used Google Forms in the past. And that was okay. I like Canvas a lot better. It's a lot more streamlined. So if you can find an LMS, a learning management system that you like, I would stick with that. And I've also done Q&A sessions. I've also used Poll Everywhere, where they could submit their questions to me, and it would be anonymous, right? So they wouldn't have to be embarrassed to ask a stupid question, even though there's really no
Just
such
open
thing.
response.
Hmm?
Open response.
An open response, poll everywhere question. Then I'll display the questions and we go through it. So I've done that too. And some student pair things that I've done is usually at the end of a unit or an end of a chapter, I've had students create their own video and kind of create a summary of the main points from the entire unit or that entire chapter. So they've created their own videos or they've made posters summarizing the main points, or they've done something to communicate what they still remember from everything and then maybe help each other review for the test. Yeah.
One thing that I did was I had them do kind of an online magazine, really, quickly, a short magazine of what they learned and have the different views of different people. So yeah, things in it. So it's kind of cool.
When you create your own, have them create a video, is that usually done in class or do you have?
In class. And if I have them make a video, it's usually at the end of a unit.
Now, what about do you just let them use their devices to create a video? Or?
They can if they want, but I do have iPads for them. So I say, here's
How many iPads do you have in your classroom?
I only have 25.
And how many students on average do you have?
Depends on the class. If it's AP, it's usually around 20, 22. If it's honors, 35.
Okay.
So the honors kids, they're pairing up on an iPad or they're using their own devices. So I also jumped the gun with my grant because the district just bought the other physics teachers in my building complete sets. So they have 40. That's okay. It's fine. It's fine. All right. Some class activities that you now have the time for. You can have students create their own tutorials. So instead of a summary video, they can create their own tutorials that you can then share out the next time, the next year with your new students. You can play review games. You can do a class project or experiment, which is something I never really had time for. We would do, the pairs, and they would work on their experiment together, but I hadn't really had time to do a whole class experiment before. You can...
Have you been able to do that now, though, with the flipped?
Sorry?
Have you been able to do that now, the experiments?
Yeah, because class time is open up now, and we can set aside, 20 minutes of the class time on this experiment, this ongoing experiment, and then do something else, which we wouldn't have been able to do before. So, you can have students create their own stories, write their own stories, share their stories. You can Skype with an expert. You can have board meetings and mock trials and debates, which is my absolute favorite activity to do because I like it when students argue and start to throw things at each other. It's just, I love it. Okay. So, for their tutorials, they can just do a simple, here's a black marker, a white paper, and a camera. That's it. That's all they need to do, and then they can do a tutorial on a math problem, or they can talk about the American Revolution. I don't know. If you want to expose them to some technology, give them some skills in presentation and all that, you can use iPad apps like Explain Everything, or Show Me. Show Me is probably geared more towards younger students. It's simplified. And kind of more fun and quirky than Explain Everything. Explain Everything is probably better for the high school kids. There's also a lot more that you can do with Explain Everything. Show Me is pretty good, pretty basic. I can't recall how much editing you can do in Show Me.
None.
None?
It's exactly the same as Educreations. If you screw up, you just start over.
So Show Me is pretty simple, but Explain Everything's awesome for high school. Okay. You can do review games. You can play Stump the Class and Baseball Review from Susan Boyd. I've stolen that from her. And I'll give you the link to this presentation so you have all of these hyperlinks too. I've also done Jeopardy, of course, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Hollywood Squares, a sort of summary, review games, and then board games. Donnie Young has some, Glenn York has some elementary board games that you can create. And once I made particle physics Monopoly for my advanced kids because I'm that nerd. I thought it was awesome. Something else that I've kind of played with is interactive sticky notebooks. I really liked this and use this with my astronomy kids because my astronomy kids, I got the whole gamut. They're the ones who are taking the class because they need another science credit and they don't want to take harder sciences. And then I've got the kids who really, really like science and want to just learn more about astronomy. So I've got everybody in that class. And I like it because this is where they would put their notes from the video from the night before. And for astronomy, I don't make my own videos. I use NASA a lot. They have their video editing programs are way nicer. So steal, if you can, steal other people's videos.
Curate.
They write their notes on this side, and then we do something over here.
You're curating, remember?
Curating, yeah. Not stealing. That would be bad.
An actual physical notebook.
And I think the middle school teachers and elementary school teachers have got this down better than high school teachers, but it's about adding personality and students creating something themselves with the content that you're giving them. And it's tangible, and it's something that they fall in love with over the year, and they look back at it at the end of the year and they said, I made this. And they've got graphic organizers in there, they've got summaries, reflections, stories, everything.
Now, is this an app or
No, this is a physical
notebook? Okay.
Yeah, low tech. And you've got glue and construction paper and scissors and ribbon and glitter everywhere. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
PowerPoint or presentation, right?
Huh?
We look at the link for presentation.
Oh yeah, yes, you will. This teacher, and I'm spacing on her name right now, but she has my favorite blog about interactive notebooks.
I've used those with high success.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun because it's.
Oh, they are.
They're making something and they can add their personality. I just love it. Anyway, so a class project or experiment, you can design a green city or a moon base, which I've done for astronomy, or a Mars colony, which I've also done, and a Europa colony. Okay. Then you can do some sort of recycling project, some sort of community service type project connected to your content. You can do a class newsletter or a podcast or a magazine with your kids. Experiment with water bottle rocket designs. Some students will screw up their designs just so they can do it again. Yeah, so you can create a virtual museum, which I've done once with some success. You split your kids up and they do a certain display in your virtual museum. Some of them are really, really awesome, really well done, and some are not, but that's okay. I am a sucker for a good story. So I like it when students will tell me something about their own lives. And I especially like it if they can connect it to what we're doing in class. So you can go low tech, you can do skits, short plays, you can write a myth, you can do a flip book, you can write a children's book, which at one point or another a student has done for me in one of my classes. With astronomy, I let them have leeway with their projects. Sorry. They can choose whatever they want to produce for their individual research project. And some of them have chosen to write a children's book about the constellations or something like that. So you can also do multimedia stories. You can do a fake book, which is like Facebook, it looks like a Facebook page, but the student builds the Facebook page for some celebrity or something like that. And I think the example that that's the one I made. It's about an astronaut who was my cousin, Gus Grissom. So I made a Facebook page for him, and it kind of chronicles his life in the astronaut program. So it was kind of fun to kind of create a Facebook page for
There's
someone.
also a pop-up book one.
Sorry?
There's also like a pop-up book one for the multimedia.
Oh yeah,
But I know UEN knows all about it because it was in one of the classes I took from UEN, but it's a pop-up book.
Yeah, I just saw that recently, and I haven't tried that yet, but maybe with some of my students that might appeal to them. You can do photo montage, video, digital storytelling, all that good stuff. I love stories, so. Oh, and you can Skype with an expert, and actually you can go to Skype and they can connect you with other cultures, with experts in certain career fields, and it's free to you, absolutely free. But you want to make sure you've got a webcam that you can turn around and show your entire class to whoever you're Skyping with. You want to have mics and good speakers. Some tech setup that you'll need to have. And I think NASA, NASA is really good about talking with your classes. They have experts there who will Skype quite frequently. So if you're working on your space minute or something, and you want to talk to somebody from NASA, I would check that out, yeah.
I had a lot of success just with local university professors Skyping in.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because they like to talk to the high school kids, but it's not so far of a drive so it's a great way for them to promote their programs at their schools and get them to come in for 20 minutes into a class and share some ideas.
I think you'll be surprised at who's willing to talk to your kids. Take some time out for them. Okay, my favorite thing. Board meetings, mock trials, and debates. So with board meetings, I usually do this after a lab, and I have my students defend their results to one another. So at the beginning, I will kind of get things rolling. I'll start saying, okay, what is your evidence for this conclusion? I kind of help guide the conversation, but eventually I hand that over to the kids, and they start holding each other accountable for their results, and it's awesome. You can apply that to any kind of activity, any kind of subject. You can do mock trial or a debate. How I've used this at the end of the year with my AP kids, I have had them put light on trial. You know, we accuse light of being a particle or something like that. And I don't know why that's a crime, but it is. So light is a particle, and so the defense team has to say, no, light's not a particle, it's a wave, and then they have to show the evidence for this. And the prosecution has to say, no, light is a particle, here's the evidence for that. And it's how well they present their evidence and how well they communicate with each other, and who is the more convincing with that. That's the most fun. Yeah. So, and those links that I have there, they have some ideas for how you can incorporate this in your classroom. The top one has a lot of ideas for elementary. Okay, and like I said, I'll give you the link to this, so you have all those hyperlinks. So, do you have any questions right now? Even if it doesn't have anything to do with activities, anything like that? Some question that maybe popped up in your mind?
Do you just do like build action homework at all in your class?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay.
With AP, yeah. With AP, you have to.
Well, even with general and honors,
Honors, there's some sections where you have to spend a couple of days working on the same types of problems over and over because they are complicated and take some time to go through. So yeah, there are days where we're not having quite as much fun, but you know, they're working in small groups and I'm moving around and I will shuffle them up and we will do the boring stuff, right? The problem solving.
So how do you group? Sorry. Go ahead. How do you group your kids?
Usually at the beginning of the year, I let them sit where they want and that's their group for a little while. And then as soon as I start seeing what their skills are, who's good at what, who's maybe struggling in what, then I will start to strategically group them.
So when you said homework, do you have homework that's going home, or is this classwork now?
This is what is now classwork.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's not like homework, because their homework is watching the videos now.
Right.
And then the homework that they used to take home is now what they work on in class.
Yeah, I guess that's what I meant is that do you just have them working on problems that sometimes, or do you have them, you know, doing a worksheet where they have to actually answer some questions?
Most days, whether we do something hands-on or not, they have problems to look at, questions to answer, and then they do something else, or they do something hands-on and then look at the questions of the problems. So I try to do something hands-on if I can every day, even if it's something small, a real short demo. I don't do demos anymore in my physics classes. They do the demos, which is kind of awesome. So they do the demos and then they have to explain what's going on and why it's happening that way.
Do you direct them and tell them what to do, or do you? Like,
it's easier with physics because nothing's exploding.
Right. You know? Like how do you? Just out of curiosity, like how do you? Like if you were gonna have them do a demo, like what would you do? How would you?
I give them some step by step.
Like you do that outside of class, or you do that in class?
In class.
Okay.
In class. So they have a half sheet with instructions, and on there's also some questions that they want to answer in their lab reports after they discuss it with each other.
And then you have each group do the same demonstration for the class, or they do it for themselves?
They do it in small groups.
I see.
If I've got the equipment for it.
Right.
They do it in small groups.
So it's kind of like a lab, but it's
kind of, but there's no real data collection. There's no you need to defend your conclusion at the end type thing. It's just here, let's explore what this does and talk about why. Yeah. If I'm short on supplies, then it can be a whole class.
Yeah, history, that stuff, not so comfortable.
Just give them some chemicals.
But I do a lot of demos because I love demonstrating stuff. And they love it, and especially if there's fire involved. Which any good demo is going to have fire involved in it.
True.
Yeah, there's a teacher in my department who makes sure that we get in the required number of fire drills every year. Yeah. He's really good about that. No other questions? Okay, then I have a request for you guys who have technology in front of you. There's this bit.ly link right here. It takes you to a Google Doc, and I wanted to give you guys a space to kind of curate, right? Not steal.
Yes.
Curate your own ideas for class activities and how you use it in class. Give you just a second to get to there, and then I'll also click on that.
I'm sorry, I have an off-the-wall question. Do you know if the floor, so like if I bring my technology that's very old, will I be able to plug it in anywhere?
I think so.
Do you know if the floor ones
so
work?
This stuff should work. Right? The plugs in the floor at my school do not work.
Which plugs
There
are
are
you talking
different
about?
plugs.
Electrical plugs or the Ethernet plugs?
Electrical.
Yeah, mine's bleeding, that's working.
Okay, because my battery
Plugs
will go to
at my
my
school don't work. They get waxed over every year, which I don't understand. But
Well, it's too hard to go around it, so.
My favorite is when the custodian waxes the computer to the floor so it's stuck. We've had that happen. It's pretty impressive.
Is everybody there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody still need the link? Can I click it?
Is this your website? Is this your document?
This is your Google Doc.
Yeah. So is this your Google Doc that has
Flip classroom activities.
that has all the activities that?
These ideas.
Well, I just wondered if it was.
These ideas,
No,
except
it's
for
just
the
Oh.
shoot.
picture. Here.
Yay. There we go. These ideas, except for the top one, I added the top one last minute, but these ideas came from other teachers. I've used this document before. So one idea I had was have the kids be teachers for a day. Hand the content over to them and have them teach each other. Give them sufficient time to learn it, research it. Usually keep it simple unless it's my EP kids, and in which case they're teaching each other modern physics, particle physics, and nuclear physics, and all that. Not neat. Okay, so let me project. I think I have the link. Yeah. Somebody check that link for me, but that is the link to this presentation. So you have all the hyperlinks, and you also have a link to the Google Doc with you.
Says your link has been disabled.
Sorry?
Says your link has been disabled.
Oh, I think it's because Bitly has been doing.
Actually, it's a Dropbox problem. Dropbox had issues with some stuff for a while. So they messed up all their shit.
Have you tried OneDrive? Through the Microsoft OneDrive?
OneDrive, yeah.
Another one is called TinyURL.
Yeah. Okay, well,
I have a question. When you're flipping your class, do you usually, if you're focusing on one concept for them to watch a video on, or?
It's, yeah, you wanna be strategic. I'm going
We're
to
gonna have this on your webs, on your
Put that on my blog. How about that? I have a website, and
Yeah.
But yes, the videos or the lessons, however it's supposed to is one concept or a couple of concepts. Try to keep it simple, and then do more challenging stuff related to it in class. That's when they need you. Right? They don't need you for everything. They need you for the tough stuff, but they don't need you for the more basic stuff.
So you put it on flipped physics, is that what?
Yeah, I'll put it there.
And is the flipped physics, is that your blog?
Yes. Yeah, and I will pretty up that post later, but for now, there's the link. Yeah, so spell physics wrong, please.
Where would you find that? Sorry? On your flipped physics?
It's a Flip Physics is your
Yeah.
blog name, right?
Yeah, blog, website. I decided to buy the domain. That's the class website. It's not a weekly.
Okay.
So it's splitphysics.com. Okay, now did it work? That link?
Yes. Oh, I know. It works on Dropbox.
Sarah, Jared mentioned you had some sort of planning something for your videos, some tool you use. Is that on your website?
Yeah. I think this post.
I was writing down a story for what the cartoonists do.
This is what Jared curated from his keynote, the tips here, and then I made a guide because as I started doing this, trying to pare down your lesson to what's really important and take out the more challenging stuff and leave that for the class time, I was figuring out that I needed some kind of structure. So I created this real quick. Here, this is what the video will be about. It's going to be about a skill. These are your goals with the video. Do you want to do an attention getter? Usually I've used movie clips sometimes. If I'm talking about inertia, I will show them a Land of the Lost video clip where Will Ferrell is screaming at them to start running in a serpentine path, right? Because the dinosaur is so huge, he has a lot of inertia. It's really hard for him to change direction. Why? Because he has inertia, right? Yeah, anyway. Plus, it's funny. So I've used that before. And then your main ideas, your transitions, your supporting details, non-examples, all the good things that you do in a lesson. So.
Where do you curate your movie clips from?
Anywhere. I'm a child of the internet, so I'm on there all the time. And so if I see something that can relate to my class, I'll take it and file it away and then use it. Sometimes it's watching TV at home. Come up.
Yeah. I noticed that on some of them. It's like, oh, that would have been a great class.
So it's just.
Evernote's a good tool for grabbing and organizing that stuff as you go.
Evernote's good. I like OneNote as well.
OneNote, yeah.
I've used Evernote to kind of gather things, but then I also just keep Word docs with links. I need to be a little more organized with curating. I have places everywhere, but Evernote's my I love that.
Real downloader or the Real Player will connect to YouTube and let you download. I mean, it doesn't do every video, but if it helps you, you can get the video onto your computer and then when.
Yeah, I don't want to show them the entire Land of the Lost.
No, you can't.
You want to, because there's some parts you shouldn't, but you want to.
There's a big thing like copyright issues.
Oh, if you're under a certain time limit, you're fine.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, if you're commenting about it. Yeah, actually, fair use if you're commenting about it as well.
Yeah.
Also, with copyright issues, I've had some teachers ask me this. If you have Canvas or some sort of LMS where the students have to log in to view your content, it's just like showing something in your classroom. You're fine copyright-wise because it's not available to everybody on the internet.
Redistribution is a bad thing. Yeah. So as long as you're not actively redistributing something.
Burning copies.
Yeah, so I'm not burning copies of the whole video for everybody.
Download it. If you can download it, it's not got a copyright issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I figure out.
Sorry, what was that?
the real downloader,
Uh-huh.
you can't download every video or every video clip. If it's copyrighted, it will not let you download it.
Yeah, there's different levels of copyright, so that's not a guarantee.
That's true.
So just to be safe,
There's something about like 8 seconds or, you know.
yeah, to be safe, try to follow those rules and then just make sure it's posted somewhere only your kids can get to. That's also why my videos are not out there for everybody, because I do have a lot of copyright stuff in my videos, parts of worksheets from the publishers, images from the textbook, things like that. I don't want to get in trouble with the law, so I just tamp that down. My videos, they're unlisted on YouTube, so you have to have the URL to get to them, but that's fine because everything is embedded on Canvas, so yeah.
How long do you think your videos are on average?
For honors, it can go, for honors kids, it's between 5 and 10 minutes. Usually around 8. It's pretty good. AP, simply because the amount of things we have to discuss. 10 to 15 minutes. I think the longest video I had was 17 minutes, and I apologize profusely to my kids about that. But there was no hope for that, because they came in, screaming at me, 2 minutes longer than usual. What's wrong with you, Miss Carlson? I'm sorry. Like, did you not see the funny picture at the end?
How many per night do you usually, just the one?
The one.
Yep.
That's it?
Yeah.
So they're complaining because they don't have an hour's worth of homework. They have a 17-minute video.
You can't win.
It's true, we can't.
Well, it's just like when your students complain to you about, you're giving us too much work, and I look at them and say, well, count how many students are in the class. Every work that I give you, times that by how many students are in the class. That's how much work I have. Oh.
Perspective, right?
Times 7 classes.
Do you do like examples and stuff inside the video?
Yeah. With honors. With AP, what I decided to do instead of a lot of the examples was I send them to WebAssign, and the publisher has active examples that walks them through every single step, and they do that. That's kind of their concept check. The AP kids, is they go through the active example. It's also less time I have to spend.
I was going to say, lots of publishers have web codes and stuff you can...
What's that?
Lots of publishers' textbooks have like little web...
Yeah, they have supplementary material online. Yeah. I'm hoping this year to get into mastering physics. Whatever that's called. I have a new textbook this year, and I'm supposed to have access to mastering physics. So I won't be using WebAssign anymore. Any other questions about anything? Okay, what time is it? Perfect. How many of you were actually productive during your summer? I was not, and I'm paying for it now.
I know.
I don't get a
Define productive. I think relaxing is productive.
Sure. You feel good afterwards, but then you get to this week and you're like, holy shit, I need to make 60 videos.
How many videos to make? 60?
I don't know. 160. I'm redoing all my APs, so I gotta redo it all.
We don't get a summer break. We're year round. We get 3 weeks without students. And the only reason I got a break this year was I broke my ankle. So
Good job.
yeah, so I had a literal break because I couldn't get upstairs in the building in the winter.
Have you ever heard about process
World War II
drawing?
building.
That would be the coolest thing. That's all I have to do. Get some videos.
And I couldn't get on that time
It
because
is
the time
the
was pink those. We're working on something.
Anything?
So I'm just still catching up.
Okay, I'm here today, but tomorrow I'm not because I have to go to a class tomorrow.
You have to go to the class tomorrow too.
I have a BLT for my robotics class.
BLT sandwich.
So I'll be around today, so if you come up with a question and you want to ask, just find me. Thank you guys.
Building. Thank you.